you know, I wake up every day to go out and hustle and bustle to get an extra check, right? To get that bag and get all that, right? And
All
live the
right.
life that I want to live, right? And that's me as a person, right? That's me as an individual. But then I also have to think about, what message or image am I giving my child? What am I giving those who, you know,
Life can be beautiful if you let it.
In the bowl.
hey, hold on real quick. My fault, real quick. Start that over. Are we live yet? Can I see that live clock in the corner? Did you see it?
You gotta stop smoking, man. Yeah.
My fault. I didn't see. I don't see it. Deion, my fault. Can you
The
start that
live is
over?
up there and the video just played.
Oh, I definitely didn't see it. My fault. Deion, can you start that over? Hello? God dang it. Hey, text him something, start that over.
Now we can just go ahead and start. He can edit that in.
All right. I don't know what that was. Whatever. All right, ready? Yo, 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 what do you know? Welcome to In the Bowl Podcast. Shout out to Hustle Five Ways. I'm your host, Nas.
She got tall man live from Dubai.
And as always, In the Bowl Podcast is sponsored by your nation's own #1 mobile hookah provider, where they not only do private events, they do wholesale distribution and take that event to the next level. What's going on?
What's going on, man? How you doing today?
I can't complain.
You look refreshed.
And man, and I'm feeling good. Gotta represent for the HBCUs. Gotta do that always and forever.
Yeah,
But nah, cooling, man.
exactly. I threw my Morgan State track jacket on, man.
There we go. There we go. There we go. There we go. Before we even get into the topics today, though, let's definitely do a cheers. I know sometimes we get so excited and we just start. So definitely cheers. Toast up to another week, another day.
Yes, sir. So what's going on, man? How was your weekend?
It was good, man. Honestly, man, it was it must have been like that good because I can't really remember too much of it. We celebrated some good folks' birthdays. One of my good folks, they got brunches on a Sunday. So you ever in the ever in the DMV area, definitely stop by 8th Street by Ella Grace. Shout out to Ella Grace and that whole crew and Instagrams who's out there chefing it up. Got some bomb ass chicken and waffles, so you gotta fuck with them. But yeah, man, just cooling, man. Hung out with some good folks, and hung out with the family.
Okay, okay.
So yeah, man, definitely a solid little spot and great food, man. What's up with you though, man? What'd you get into?
All is well, man. Last week we had the Jacksons in town. So we
Yeah,
tried to show them some hospitality. And I will say, man, every day, they got it in. It was a good mix of the tourist activities as well as mixing up the locals. Because remember, we had a carnival out here last weekend. It was a 4-day weekend because of UAE National Day. So essentially we had Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday off. So every day was something different. We kicked off Thursday with a yacht party.
okay.
That was nice. It was one of our folks. He had rented a yacht. That man, the boat was amazing. It had like two levels, but the wildest thing about it is the first level was set up outside like a patio with a dance floor.
Mm,
So that's all you need when you're playing reggae and soca. You got your little couch that you can post up on, and you got at your dance floor where you can, hop out there and, burn a few calories. The food was on point. They had the
Mm.
jerk chicken, rice and peas, beef patties, pepper shrimp. And I mean, it was a good time. And then actually Friday, then kicked off the pool party. So we
Mm.
had a nice little afternoon pool party, and then moved into Friday night was like a slow jams party. So I mean, you had everybody in there singing along, having a good time. Saturday, we linked up again. We had some soca artists in town. Had my man Skinny Fabulous, Patrice Roberts, Ricardo Drew. Who else was there? You had man, Barry Hype. He was out here. It was a good time, man. When Sunday rolled around, I was ready to do nothing but sit on the couch, watching some soccer games, and try to catch the beginning of the NFL kickoff, because I always say, man, a 1 o'clock game started 10 p.m. out here. So that's still an adjustment. But I mean, all in all, man, it was definitely a good weekend. Weather was perfect. Mid 80s. Nice little breeze out the southwest. So it was a good time, man.
That's what's up. That's what's up. That's definitely what's up. That's definitely what's up. And that's always a good time when you got folks in town, and you know what I'm saying, especially if it's a good weekend too. It's a lot of live shit going on. So that's dope.
Yeah,
That's definitely dope. That's
yeah,
definitely,
exactly. So now it's back to the work week. Got
yeah.
another day or two left. On the clock, then right back on the weekend again, man. So definitely good times.
Yeah, man. Time is flying, man. We about to get to the end of the year. You know what I'm saying? We about to get to that point to where people are gonna start giving their New Year's resolutions. People are gonna start leaving this in 2022, doing the same shit in 2023. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's that
Exactly.
that time of the year, man.
Yeah, it's almost time for that new year, new me.
Right? You type shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, that's the year we're in now. That's the time of the year we're in. But time is flying.
Yeah, it is, man. I keep saying, man, after Halloween, the year's a wrap. Because November went by in like 2 weeks. And, I mean, we're already, about to be 2 weeks into December. So, yeah, I mean, 2022 is, you're going to blink and, it's going to be New Year's.
Yeah, no facts. Definitely facts on that. Definitely facts on that, man. So speaking of time flying, man, there's a lot of shit going on right now. I know we talk about a lot of stuff happening, and last week we touched on it briefly. But what'd you think about LeBron's comment on being questioned about the whole Jerry Jones situation?
So, I think LeBron is very, I think he's very media trained. I mean, he always, comes through with, I mean, the correct responses to things. He hasn't said anything, that's been, too far left,
Yeah,
for my liking, since he was, 18, 19 years old, but
yeah,
at the same time, I mean, he does, step up and, take action, to defend the culture and move forward, so I had no issues with nothing he said.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And that's one thing we talk about all the time. You never talk about when people got, when you got these celebrities start getting into trouble and shit like that. And they're the ones who making the bag, right? They're the ones making the
Yeah,
bag. Gotta have someone around you. So I will hats off to LeBron's, PR team. You know what I'm saying? They
yes,
got right. Cause even from the beginning when he's young, I mean, think about it. I mean, even going in the league at that caliber, that young, he's done a phenomenal job of staying out of the negative side of it. I mean, you obviously, no one's perfect, so you got some lash every once in a while. I think his worst backlash was, leaving Cleveland type shit. You know what I'm saying? But he's done a phenomenal job. So hats off to him. I give him that.
yeah, man, I agree.
That
I agree. Now, on the flip side of that, I haven't really been keeping up with the NBA yet. There's just too many sports, going on right now. Typically I don't jump into the NBA until February-ish, after the Super Bowl. Then, I kind of switched gears, but I know there has been a lot of talk in the media, surrounding, the Lakers and, what they're doing and injuries. And, I just hope that that team pulls it together, because, I definitely want to see the man go out on a high note, as I know they had
Yeah,
some struggles last year. So, I'm not a Lakers fan, you know,
yeah,
but I do, wish well for that man. He's had a phenomenal career, and now we're
yeah.
on the backside of that career. When he's gonna be leaving the league soon. But I want the man to go out on a high note.
Yeah, nah, for sure, for sure. I think he's doing a phenomenal job as a family man and an athlete. So great balance. It would be nice to see him go out on a high note. So I'm not a Lakers fan, but I will hats off to him and keep doing what he's doing.
Indeed, indeed.
And then speaking of sport,
So
go ahead.
yes, yes. No, no, no. I was gonna say, so what's the first topic up? What you got?
I think it's a good time to and not just a time now, but to always represent your alma mater, what you appreciate, right? So I'm not saying I have anything against PWIs, but I will say for me, a graduate of a HBCU, I will say that this whole Deion talk, right? This Deion talk is a tough one, right? I think it's one of those things to where it's like I'm on the fence of of I don't know how to feel, because I'm looking at it from both a personal perspective, right? And for
Hmm.
myself, if I was in his shoes, right? Never walk in another man's shoes, but put yourself in someone else's situation, right?
Okay.
But then also looking at it from an optic of what the reaction from what the outside world. And a lot of people say you shouldn't care what the outside world's thinking, and I 100% agree with that. But I also feel that when you have certain platforms, there are certain, unfortunately, your life is just different. Like it's just whether you want to say you want to live your life the way you want to, you just can't do that, right? It's like
Hmm.
the average man or whatever, they can do the stupidest shit, right? And no one would catch wind of it, right? But when you're at certain
Okay.
caliber, 40s gonna get magnified, right? So this Deion situation, me being on the fence, I don't know, man. I feel that Deion being at Jackson State and listening to his speeches in the very beginning and how much of an advocate he was for HBCUs and increasing, recruitment to HBCUs, getting D1 athletes to go to HBCUs, getting, the academic scholars to go to, HBCUs, what I'm saying? Just that whole recruitment inside the HBCU world has just increased, right?
Okay.
But then he flipped it, you know what I'm saying? Because he had to look out for himself, right? And it was that whole speech how he was dedicating his check back to the program, and he was working on and getting the community to invest into the local community, into the local program, right? And so I hats off to him on that. Now I'm not taking anything he has done away from him, but I think it
Okay.
just goes like that about Kanye, right? I feel that sometimes you get lost in the message. So he may have had a message at one point, right? But now I'm kind of confused what his message is, considering someone just sprinkled a couple more dollars on his plate and he rose. I know me as an individual, I wake up every day to go out and hustle and bustle to get the extra check, right? To get that bag and get all that, right? And
All
live the
right.
life that I want to live, right? And that's me as a person, right? That's me as an individual. But then I also have to think about, what message or image am I giving my child? What am I giving those who, you know, do wonder, oh, what does he do? This, that, and the third, right? It's, it still has an optic on it. And unfortunately, I think that with him leaving, it put a real poor taste, you know what I'm saying, out there. You know, and I don't care if he would have left, right, Jackson State, but I think he should have probably went to another HBCU.
Okay.
That's
Well, I'm gonna take the other side on that one because you know I listened to a couple different interviews, and I know that when he first got hired, of course he was given the majority of his check, if not all of it, I mean back to the program. But I think when he initially took the job, is that he took it to give HBCUs that exposure. And
mm-hmm.
he was asked the question early on that if one of the Big Five divisions or conferences reached out to him, would he pursue that opportunity? And he said from the very beginning, he said, yeah, I would definitely entertain it. So I think that he came to Jackson State, and he did elevate the school and elevate the HBCU collegiate program as a whole, because he did put the money back into it. And the question was asked to him of, well, hey, you're leaving these young men behind. And what he said was that yes, he's going to Colorado, but he said that I mean 70 to 80% of that team is African American, so he still has the opportunity to mentor young men. But then he then framed it to say that I mean he's there to mentor all men, and get them on the right path, with the prime time influence. So I think that he did what he was supposed to do at Jackson State, but at the same time, I mean he has a career that he's trying to work on as well. Because remember, he was a
yeah,
high school coach for a couple of years, and then he went to
yeah,
Jackson State. And yeah, his salary has increased, tremendously. 'Cause I want to say he was getting like 1.2, 1.5 million at Jackson State, give or take.
yeah,
Don't fact check me on numbers, 'cause I don't have them in front of me.
yeah,
But then going to Colorado, I think he's getting like 20 some million.
yeah,
So he's using that platform to continue to elevate himself, and he's looking to get more African American coaches into those Big Five program spots.
yeah,
And he's showing that that you can get a recruiting pool of African American coaches from HBCUs, and they deserve chances at these big time programs as well. So he's kind of working two different angles of where he put the exposure on the Jackson State program, but then also from the coaching perspective, he's kind of knocking down some doors, to give them some opportunities to spread their wings and their influence,
yeah.
which is big because I mean college football. I mean those coaches at those top schools are getting top dollar.
No, I agree, and that's why I say, right. I mean, you got to look at it both sides. So, I hear you on. I think the best thing about it was that he did expose, some of the issues at HBCU, and when you have certain caliber students, and them wanting to go to PWIs, and then I was talking to a good buddy, and he was even telling me how a lot of folks, they don't get back to them out at HBC, right? And
That's
that
true.
is tough, right? So I think for our side, we have to do better at giving back, right? But I don't know. I just feel that as soon as that happened, there were there were a few folks that took back their signing, and decided to look at other schools now because of that, right? And again, it's like
Man.
you can be just as successful to me, right? And you don't need to go to PWI. You should probably go what's the best for your situation, and maybe that's the best message that he could teach, right? Like you're going to go to what is the best thing for you and your family, right? So I can't take that from him because going from 1 million to 20, you know what I'm saying? That's what you're going to do. Just no one can sit
Yeah.
there and like they are just that above where they're just like, you know what? No, I'm just not going to take it, right? And I can't say no one. That's a strong word, but I think there's far and few that would sit there and pass up, the delta of $19 million, right? And that's nothing really to shy away from. But again, I'm just on that fence of like I don't know how to really feel of. I don't know. I'd rather him just go to another HBCU and keep that same energy he had in the beginning, right? Now they got that meme play his theme music. You know what I'm saying? Like, nah, dog, like you don't have that same spunk. Like you need that community. And that's one thing I do appreciate. I'll always say, HBCUs, I think they did a phenomenal job for the earlier years. And I appreciate it. I don't think I would ever change my experience in that. So that's where I'm on the fence, man. I think looking at individual, I'm gonna do what's best for me and my family. you know. Um, and that's what you kind of got to do. That's kind of why we do it every day, right?
Nah, this is true. Yeah.
So,
Yeah, 'cause I mean, it will be interesting, to see, what he does, on on that stage and that platform, because yeah, there definitely is going to be, some blowback of, some athletes, shying away from, the Jackson State program, or HBCUs as a whole. There's a lot of folks, I mean, I know personally, that if uh Deion had recruited me, and now I see, he's no longer coaching there. I mean, people are tied to, coaches, and they don't know, what's going to happen at that program, the uncertainties of, the next head coach, and, things of that nature. So I think that there will be some blowback in the short term, but I think that the long term of what he's done there, I think that he's laid, kind of a groundwork or a foundation,
yeah.
that can still be built upon. But I mean, you were spot on with, with how much, folks give back.
Yeah.
And if folks aren't giving back, then, these institutions, aren't raising enough capital, and, they can't therefore, put that money, back into the programs and back into coaching staffs and things of that nature. So I mean, it does start with the alumni.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to do your part, because I think, and I heard someone say it, and so this is definitely, not my words, but I truly agree with him, is that, I mean, if you haven't been given back to, an HBCU on the regular, you don't have a ground to stand on to sit here and
Yeah.
talk about this man of leaving to pursue an opportunity, and especially,
Facts.
making, more money for his family.
Facts.
I
Facts.
mean, if you're not stroking the check, just keep your mouth shut.
No, that's fair. That's why I say, it's tough, man. You can't judge, someone else, but I mean, that's what we do. Fuck it. But at the same time, is I think, I don't know. I agree with you. Not at the same time. I definitely agree with you. It's a tough one, man. It's one of those things where he had to do what he needed to do. Just me personally, I wish he would have went to either another HBCU or just stayed for a couple more years just to stamp. But again, he's already paved the way for some other gentlemen. You know what I'm saying? For some not gentlemen, not just men, but men and
Yeah.
women. You know what I'm saying? Going to HBCU. So still hats off to him. He's still prime time. I know he's gonna catch a lot of slack for it. Cause again, you can't make everyone happy, but
Yeah.
you know, that's how I feel about
I agree with you, and it's something else. I came across this week that was rather interesting. So, a young lady, and I'm not sure, where she's from. I just know, somewhere in the States. But she tattooed her eyeballs, right? And now she's possibly going blind. So what she did is, her right eye, she tattooed blue, and her left eye, she tatted purple. So they're saying that she had a possible reaction to the ink.
it.
So apparently whoever was tattooing her eyes, tattooed, the ink, too deeply, and it just, messed up her eyes to, the point where her eyes are swollen. Now, the ironic thing in this is that the woman's 7-year-old daughter was like, "Mommy, I don't think this is a good idea."
Yeah.
And sometimes, I mean, kids are, what I love about kids is their honesty.
Yeah.
Because kids are just learning because you're teaching them right and wrong. So in the very beginning, that honesty, there really is no filter with it. And I think this is definitely one of those instances, when she should have, listened to her 7-year-old. Because, I get, you want to, pierce this, you want to tap that, but I mean, you start messing around with something as sensitive as your eyeballs, and I mean, you're just asking, for possible trouble.
Yeah. I mean, me personally, I think that's the dumbest shit in the world. Like, I'm all about tattoos. I'm all about, expression and all that. But that's the dumbest shit in the world. Why don't you just get fucking, you know what I'm saying? Like, get the color
I
contacts.
agree.
You know what I'm saying? Like, what are you doing tattooing your eyes? You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
What, you know what I'm saying? Like, just think about even, folks that do that laser and shit. Like, I can't even imagine, sitting there and someone just going over your eyeball and fucking tattooing it. And then just thinking about, like, I don't know, I just think that's just fucking stupid. I'm very passionate about that stupid. I don't like calling people stupid. That shit's stupid. Like,
No,
I don't do that at all. I can't. I'm fucking judging. Fuck it. It's fucking stupid.
no, I agree with you, man. You have, so many different alternatives out there with like the color contacts and things of that nature that I don't know what will possess you to tattoo your eyeballs. And she said that, that there was a model, I forgot the young lady's name, but I guess she had, tattooed her eyes black, and that kind of inspired her because I mean the lady who tattooed her both her eyeballs, she's a tattoo uh trying to think of the word, an enthusiast. And this woman also, split her tongue, so her tongue is going two ways like a snake. So it just looked like she was bored and just trying to find the next thing to do. And you have to have some sort of a ceiling or limit as to how far you'll go. And I think
Yeah.
that now she's definitely, learning her lesson because, she loses her sight completely behind this. You know, this is going to shape up to be probably the worst mistake, that she's made that you can't come back from.
Facts. Facts. If shit can go wrong, there's a bad thing to go fucking wrong.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I
So
agree.
that was,
I just can't go for that shit. Stupid. I think that was just when I saw that, I was like, I don't. There's got to be something else you could do. You know what I'm saying? You can't be that bored where you sit there and you really think, it makes sense to tattoo your eyeball.
exactly.
Yeah, I can't go with that. I can't go with that. Speaking of
Oh,
some
man.
crazy news, what do you think about, obviously that guy? What's that from Brooklyn or wherever he's from? The Jamal or what's his name? Whatever the fuck his name is. You got a pastor out here that's talking about selling or growing and selling weed,
Mm,
right? And his
okay.
purpose it is to show young men, women in the community agriculture,
Okay.
and then making the fruits off of your labor, basically, right? So essentially, that's what it is, right? So you grow it, you sell it, it's 100% of your profit. It goes back to that whole thing where in the Bible, it says that you got to follow the law of the land.
Hmm.
So my question: would we be mad? Say we were in Cuba, right? And someone was growing a pastor in Cuba had a tobacco farm and he was making his own Cuban cigars.
All right.
Would you frown upon them for doing that?
Well, I think that you got to look at it, two different ways. So I mean, and it all depends on jurisdictions as well.
Yeah.
Because in some places it's legal, in some places it's illegal. The federal government still looks at it as illegal. So I mean, it's a really slippery slope. Because of course in Cuba, I mean, tobacco was one of their biggest exports. I believe it was
Right.
tobacco, sugar, coffee, and maybe a few other things, but tobacco was their huge exports. If you had a pastor in Cuba, growing tobacco, I don't think that would really be frowned upon. But when you mix it up, well, not when you mix it up, but when now you change and you're growing something that's illegal in this state but legal in this state, I mean, it kind of begs the question of where there's similarities, but I mean, there are also differences. Now, if it was completely legal, I don't think it'd be a significant issue. If it was legal in that state, I don't think it would be as much of an issue. I mean, it could be, questionable, but if it's
Yeah.
legal, it's like, I mean, you really can't say, you can't say too much about it, but that's just I mean, it's a tough one. I get what he's trying to do. I think I understand the intent behind it, and we have come a long way, with that, but we're not, over that, completely over that hump yet in regards to, acceptance of it on a
And I
grand
agree.
scale.
I agree. I agree with you on that. And I think that makes sense. So that makes me now think maybe he could have, as opposed to showing him how to grow it and then sell it, how to prune it and all that other good stuff, right? Maybe he also could take a little deeper and show how, because they have all these different licenses, so that you can make it illegal, so you can make it legal, right?
Hmm.
So whether it's in certain states it's legal or not, if it's in that state and it is legal, why not show, especially with us being the highest percentage of those because of it, flip now the game and actually be part of the game and having a license to be part of the research and development of it, right? And then that gives you that legal
Okay.
license to be able to grow it. And then that gives you, that connection of how to sell your product and still make fruit or make fruits off your labor that way, right? So
Yeah.
why not take it all the way down to the root of it, right? And really show them of how you can build a business and you can do legitimate business, right? And do it the right way. As long as, I think that's one thing we forget. I think people get caught up in not having their paperwork right.
Yeah.
You always say, there's two people you don't fuck with, you know what I'm saying? The IRS and your accountant or whatever, right? It's just some things you don't fuck with.
Yeah. Yeah. This is true.
Your lawyer or whatever, lawyer, doctor, whoever you said, you got to be honest with, right? It's just, but
Yeah.
but again, when it comes to that paperwork and business, they can't get you if your paperwork is right. I mean, honestly, as much as I don't want to say it, that's the problem with people like Donald Trump. They're so mad about all of the loopholes he gets through. And honestly, I think if it was an everyday man, I think there'd be so much shit that people would get in trouble for if they follow the same game plan. But because his paperwork is there and you can't catch him, how mad can you really be?
No, this is true.
He's just two steps ahead of you. So my thing is, why can't we teach our young folks of like, yo, just have your paperwork straight. If you have your paperwork straight, they can't fuck with you. You get pulled over, you got your license, your registration, they can't fuck with you, right? That's just whether you're in the right or not. If you have your documentation, your tags are straight, they just can't fuck with you because now they have the law where they just can't pull you over without probable cause, right? So if your lights are good, if your tags are good, you know what I'm saying? Your
Yeah,
tents, that's always questionable, right? I think that's some sucker shit you can put over your tents, but it is what it is. But it can still happen. So, and unfortunately, we are controlled by the laws of the land. So, whether you want to fucking believe that or not, you want to live this radical world of like, well, I want to be free. Well, fucking go live on an island. Like, get the fuck out. You live inside these
yeah,
borders, right? So these are the laws, and unfortunately, you're not above the fucking law. So if you have your paperwork right, and documentation, like they call it CYA, just cover your ass.
yeah. And I think so many people skip over steps 1 through 3 and jump right before.
Right.
You're absolutely correct. I mean, if you do things the right way, you've covered yourself, and you kind of got a leg to stand on. But when you try to take shortcuts to something, you open yourself up to potential issues and headache, and a lot of it's unnecessary
Yeah.
because you chose to skip steps 1 through 3. I mean, so now you kind of got to play the hand that you've been dealt at that point.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's a problem, right? And I think that's the first thing we should tell that. Just have the foundation right. You know what I'm saying? Like one thing my dad's always told me is like you look at these light poles or these trees, right? You see everything above the ground, right? But you don't realize that there's probably another like 50 feet, you know what I'm saying, in the ground. You know what I'm saying, to help keep everything above ground, just standing straight.
Exactly.
Foundation is key, man. Foundation is key. So we go back to the Deion, creating that foundation, that platform. I think that was a great thing. I think recruitment's still going to continue to go forward. I mean, again, I wish he would stay later, but again, foundation is key, man. And so I just wish this
Yeah.
pastor would just, I'm hoping he's telling these kids to, get your paperwork right and shit. You know how much money is in fucking the research and development? You know what I'm saying? A lot of people think
Oh
everything
yeah.
in front of the camera makes the most. A lot of times it's the creative ideas in the back that are putting the pieces together, right? And if they're able to do that, you know what I'm saying, you don't understand how successful you could be,
No, I agree.
So
I agree. And talking about success and young kids, I stumbled across something yesterday. I think it was Jalen Smith. This young man has become the youngest black mayor in the U.S. Yeah, Arkansas, 18 years old. So I mean that's quite impressive. That
yeah,
I mean at 18, this young man is the mayor, of a city. Now I don't know, all the backstory behind it about, his political ambitions, the size of the town, things of that nature. All I know is this man is 18 years old and he
yeah,
is the mayor.
yeah. So I'm gonna keep it light on this conversation because I do have feelings on both sides. But anything away from this young brother right here, this young man, 18 years old, got a lot of responsibility. And wants to see his community do better. So I'm just praying and hoping that this young man does his thing. And he shows that, the future ain't as crazy as we thought it was going to be. You know what I'm saying? We do got,
Yeah.
I gotta say, the youth is wild. The youth is, I was walking down the street the other day. I just seen like, 6 motherfuckers just run out of a store. And I'm like, come on, man. We got to figure it out, right? The owner tries to come
Yeah.
run again, I just feel bad for some of the situations folks are in where they feel they got to do certain things. But it does blow my mind now I think about it. It makes me nervous, right? Because I was pretty close when the kids came running out.
Uh-oh.
And one of the little motherfuckers had a Montclair jacket on, right? And I don't know, you know what I'm saying? Like, but Montclair really ain't that cheap, right? It ain't the cheapest jacket in the store, right? It's not like you going to fucking Set It Off or whatever that store used to be in William Plaza, or you know what I'm saying, or the last stop, you know what I'm saying? Not like you going to that
Yeah, exactly.
and buying a little, you know what I'm saying, $45 bomber. You know what I'm saying? This man had a Montclair on, and I'm just sitting there looking like, I don't know if you really had to do that. You know what I'm saying? I think, again, that's my perception. Like, but I don't know why. Like, if that's what you're living for, you know what I'm saying? We all have different wants and needs, man. But that just fucking blows my mind. But taking back to him, hats off to the young man. You know, I hope nothing but the best for him, and hopefully he can be inspiration to a lot of these other young kids out here, man. These other young men out here who, you know, just trying to find their way. You know, it may take them a while, but hopefully, you know, they find their way. He's an inspiration to them. It's a lot of responsibility. Don't forget that. It's a lot of fucking
Oh
responsibility.
yeah, oh yeah, yeah. I mean, you're the leader of a city. You know, I mean, you got a lot on your shoulders. But it was refreshing because
Yeah,
usually when you hear something about an 18-year-old in the news, sadly to say, 9 times out of 10, it's something negative surrounding it. So to have this story come out, definitely, proud to see that, and like you
yeah,
said, I mean, wish him all the best. Because he's now got a lot on his shoulders.
yeah, yeah. No, for sure. And that's what I'm saying. Like you always wanna live by. Hopefully, you know, when like, you live this earth, you know, that you're remembered by the good things you've done, right? And
Yeah,
so, you know, a lot of people were talking about, you know, the whole, you know, there's Christy Allen, right? She passed, right? And so they
yeah,
started thinking about, you know, what her political views were, you know, and on both sides. And so again, you always want to remember of what kind of legacy or what are you going to leave? What's your name going to mean after you leave?
yeah.
You know, and so that's how I look at it, right? Like what footprint are you about to leave out here?
This is true, man. And I'm glad that the election season has now officially wrapped up. Now
Yeah,
we can get back to regular commercials and all that stuff's behind us. For another couple months. Until this whole presidential election thing picks up, because that's going to start gathering steam. But definitely
yeah,
looking forward to at least a couple months of some normal television ads and moving in that direction. But yeah, I mean that was impressive, this young man. But
no, that's definitely
what
what's
else?
up.
Yes,
That's
man. So what else? What else you got over there?
Man, I mean, honestly, like I said, I just been thinking about my biggest thing. Like I said, just everything in the news that's been going on and what you're leaving behind, right? I'm thinking about, you know, when they're talking about people for the child images, you know what I'm saying, and thinking about how a lot of stuff in this world is one sided. You know, I thought that was crazy how everyone in this world is going to drop content for Adidas. They're going to continue to support Balenciaga when they had some. First of all, I want to fucking know whose parent of the child that was. That's the first problem,
Mm.
right? I fucking,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
fucking want to figure out who they were, right? And I don't know, man. I just don't fucking get what people be thinking sometimes. So I want to figure out who those parents were. But that shit was wild for you to even let them do that because you had to see them set up, right?
Yeah.
And us as a community, so quick to cancel each other. You know what I'm saying? But continue letting other folks just continue to get by day after day, shit after shit, and just be like, and just sweep underneath the rug like whatever. I'm still gonna support. Shit, crazy.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, this whole cancel culture, man. It's a lot of canceling out of convenience. I mean, people cancel people when it's convenient, but it's definitely not something that's dished out on a even basis. But
Facts.
I
You
I,
were
I
talking-
agree. I don't know if that's something that we'll ever get around, because you know trying to cancel somebody. I mean, a lot of times it just seems like, I mean, people have, personal, grudges, or, they want to jump on the bandwagon. And I don't know, man. They're very selective, and when they cancel and who they cancel and how long they cancel them. I don't know. I mean, I think this cancel culture is still in its infancy stages, and
Yeah.
things are still trying to be flushed out. But it definitely is not something that like I said, is done evenly across the board. It's a wild thing. I mean, that's all I got on it right now.
It's
It's
a
a very
real.
wild trend.
No, it is. It's a real thing too, because motherfuckers will cancel you quick as a heartbeat. You know what I'm saying? They'll cancel you like business. But again, go around and fucking support somebody they don't even know. It's crazy. Someone don't even look like. You know what I'm saying? And so I think that shit's
Exactly.
just wild. But that's what on my mind. How about you, though?
Man, that's pretty much it for me this week, man. I'm just getting ready for the for the weekend. I've got absolutely nothing planned. I'm gonna sit on my
Nice.
couch and catch these World Cup games. See what's going on now. We're down to the final 8 teams. I was gonna try to get back out to Doha for a game, but you know these uh these ticket prices starting to soar up a little bit. Like you gotta start looking to see what's trying to be financially responsible. So I'm
Yeah.
like, am I gonna spend this grip just to go watch this one game when I can sit right here on my couch with my shisha and beverage and watch in the house and put those funds on something else. So
Yeah, creature comforts. I'm with you on that. Yeah.
yeah, exactly, man. It's what you got lined up for the
Yeah, man.
weekend.
Man, I'm actually about to be down. I'm about to be down in the water, man. I'm about to be down in Jamaica. You know,
Okay,
about to be down there. Be cool. Yeah, actually about to go to this area called Treasure Beach.
all right,
Treasure Beach. So it's more in the countryside. Going to visit the family side of it. So
all
you know,
right.
my wife's going down there to the family side down there. So taking the little one out there. We all about culture, all about letting you know your history, and so this is a great time for her just to get out here to continue to explore and do a little gritty when she walks around. You know, so yeah, man, it should be a good little time, quick little getaway, man, just to chill, man, get away from this chaos.
What's up, man? Go down there and get you some sun, some family time. Some good food. Because it sounds like you're definitely gonna be the countryside. Up in the bush. So that's a whole nother experience down there. So I know y'all are gonna enjoy that.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good time. Looking forward to that, man. What you got? Just chilling, huh?
Yeah, man, that's the plan, man. Got the maid coming, Friday, to rejuvenate the spot, clean it up and maybe even swing past the butcher,
Yeah.
get out on the grill, do something. But yeah, man, I have no definite plans for the weekend outside of soccer and the couch, and everything else is kind of, up in the air. Probably, get the trucks washed, have those cleaned up, but that's about it, man. Nothing too exciting lined up. It's been like 3 straight weekends of excitement and turn up. So now it's time to sit down.
No, I can dig it. Hey, speaking of maize, know what's crazy? I know we usually wrap it up right here, but know what's crazy? The other day I was looking at this story about there's a company out in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, Chicago. They have like a stripper. I don't know if it's a stripper or they just come in real like risque clothes,
Mm-hmm.
but they're maids. I thought that was interesting. I thought that was like that's some wild shit, right? That's some new age. That's some new shit. Right? That shit crazy. But yeah, no, it just made me think of that when you said that. When you said about you got maids coming, shit like that. It's kind of started laughing inside.
Yeah, I mean, somebody definitely took that business model and saw an opportunity, to be able to combine, two different experiences.
There you go. Hey, I can't be mad at him. I thought the shit was wild. You know what I'm saying? But, it makes you think, like, I wonder how many married folks versus single folks, are using that kind of service, right? Or would that be like one of them really cool Christmas gifts?
Yeah, yeah,
You know, it'd be something
yeah,
different.
yeah. It is different, and it can definitely be different. So yeah, yeah. I mean, like I said, I mean, hats off to whoever put this business model together and is executing the plan. Because I know in the past people have talked about, oh, this would be nice to have such and such, and this person actually brought it to light. So I mean, hats off.
So, like you said, you can't be mad at someone who starts something or finish something that they started. You can't be mad at them.
Exactly, exactly. And early on, I was talking about last weekend. I failed to mention two individuals that were very instrumental in seasons weekend. I can't forget my boy Chef Richie. I know at least two of the events. He was the man in the kitchen. Providing the food. So shout out to Chef Richie, and also shout out to DJ Crown Prince. For bringing all the artists out here. Because we were supposed to hit an event a couple weeks ago, and some of the artists had issues with visas, and we're like, oh man, here we go. But Crown Prince, definitely delivered. So shout out to those two individuals, and once again, don't forget you can follow and shout out to Sheets to You. You can follow them on IG. You can follow us on Twitter at In the Bowl Pod. We appreciate you all for rocking with us, and we always say that we're two highly opinionated individuals. So we enjoy discussing highly opinionated activities. So if we said something that struck a chord with you, by all means, hit us up in the comments. Let's have a conversation about it. And we always tell you, last but not least, don't forget to keep those hookahs clean. After every use, clean up after yourself. So that way, when you're ready to smoke again, half the work is already done. So go ahead and take care of that. So until next week, we appreciate y'all for rocking with us.
And as always, click, like, and subscribe.
Hustle 5 Ways Radio.